Hey everyone, I don't know if you can tell in this photograph here, but this was one of my very first videos that I did, and it was a welcome sign. I think it may have been it was my first video, and I was surprised when I brought it in to clean it how much it had yellowed. Now I don't know if you can tell in here, but you'll see later in the video how I have it up against other things. You can probably see because of the white there how yellow it is, but I was really surprised. So this was done with total boat resin, and so that got me thinking. I'm about to redo the mermaid that I had hanging out back because I had problems with it, and that's going to be another video. But I wanted to figure out what resin to use for the mermaid that will be sitting outside that won't yellow like this did. So I've tested 5 different resins, and if you follow along, you'll see what happened. And I was kind of surprised. So maybe this will help you guys to decide what resin to use for your next project. So what I did was I took a bunch of dollar store frames, removed the backing, and prepared them for resin by sealing the glass around the perimeter with silicone caulk. And then I took them out to the garage, and the 3 resins I did the first day were Art Resin, Clear Cast 7000, and Total Boat Resin. And I prepared each one, and I put them on 3 separate frames. One to be put in the attic, one to be put in a room, a lighted room without direct sunlight, and one to be put outside on a wall where it would be getting direct sunlight. And I did this with all 3 of them. And you can see my art resin leaked, and I actually ended up having to redo that one a couple of days later. Then 2 days later in the mail, I got the Countertop Epoxy, and one was called Faux Rizzo UV Plus, and the other was FX Black Label. And I did the same thing with those 2 epoxy resins. I put them on 3 different frames, and then what I did next was I took all 5 of them and put them on the wall in a room that was light but did not receive direct sunlight. The light from that window is blocked by a tree, so that doesn't really get any direct sunlight, but it does keep the room light. And then the other 5 I took and I put outside on the wall in the direct sunlight. This is where the sun comes up in the morning, and I labeled each one. And they sat there for 2 months. So I did it on the 1st and the 3rd of December. They sat in a room inside for 25 days, and then on the 26th of December, I lined them up on the wall like that. And I did put 5 up in the attic, but keep in mind that this was during January and February, which are our coolest months. And when I say coolest, the hottest it gets is outside is 80. So the attic does get a little warm, but not as warm as it would during the summer. So after you see them now, I'm going to go put them back up in the attic for several more months to see how the heat damages them or changes the color or yellows them. So from left to right is the Countertop Epoxy Faux Rizzo, and look at how much that's yellowed. And these aren't really even real hot months. And then that one is the control. I call it the control because that I just poured yesterday. And then here you go with the art resin. There's a little bit of a difference, but not a whole lot. Looks like I have some bubbles in it, but. And then the next one is the Clear Cast 7000. And that's the one that's been inside, of course, and that's the one that's been outside. And there's not a real big difference, maybe a little bit. You can notice these 2 are about the same, I think, the art resin and the Clear Cast 7000. And then this is the Total Boat Resin, and you can see a clear difference. That's what I made my welcome sign with. And then this one is the Countertop Epoxy Black Label. So out of them all, honestly, I think the worst one is the Countertop Epoxy Faux Rizzzle UV Plus. It's supposed to have some extra UV protection, I think is the worst. So here they are again from left to right. I think I'm standing on a chair now. And I still feel that the far left one is the worst. The one that's supposed to have the extra UV protection in it, the Faux Rizzo tabletop epoxy. And now I'm standing on a chair on the opposite side and showing you them just from a different angle. And again, now the far right one is the Faux Rizzo with the extra UV protection. So now I've added to them the ones in the attic, and I've rearranged them from what I think are best to worst. So from left to right, it's Art Resin, Clearcast 7000, Total Boat Resin, Tabletop Epoxy FX, and Tabletop Epoxy Faux Rizzo Plus UV. And the ones closest to us were inside, the center ones were outside on the wall, and the top ones were up in the attic. And the ones that were up in the attic really look very similar to the ones that were on the wall. I mean, the ones that were in the room with just the light but no direct sunlight. So I don't know, what do you guys think? I know that I'm going to use either Art Resin or Clearcast 7000. How about you? And now here's my welcome sign that was done with the Total Boat Resin. And keep in mind, this has been sitting outside during the absolute hottest months here in Florida, 7 months starting in July. Now the thing about it is, when I walk up to the house and I look at it, to me it doesn't look yellow at all. Maybe because of the background or whatever. So I still think it looks fine. But I was surprised when I picked it up to clean it and brought it in the house and saw how yellow it really was. So I'm curious to hear your reaction to this, and if you've had any experience with resin yellowing, and was it because it was out in the direct sunlight, or that you stored it in the attic, or what? And are there any resins that you're wanting me to test? Maybe I'll test a few more and see how they do. But I'm going to go ahead and put these all back where they were and test them again in 2 months. Okay, so I wanted to show you the bottles quick. So this is the Art Resin. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that. And then this is the Clearcast 7000. And as far as I'm concerned, these two were pretty much equivalent as far as the UV protection. And this is the Total Boat Resin, and this is the one that I used on the picture, the welcome sign that sits out front, and that's the one that yellowed that got me started on the whole thing. And then these are the Countertop Epoxies, and these are both made from the same company. I ordered these off the same website, the same company, Countertop Epoxy. And this is the FX Black Label, and this is the Countertop Epoxy, I guess, Faux Rizzo UV Plus, the extra UV protection, which was absolutely the worst. And so what got me started with this whole thing was, besides the fact that, well, the reason I bought these were because I was at an art show, and I asked the people, oh, what do you use? Because they had some resin projects for sale. And I said, I've been using art resin. That seems to be one of the safer resins. It's food safe, VOC free. And they said, well, oh no. The one lady said she broke out in a terrible rash from this. So I don't know if she got it on her arm and didn't wash it off, or I didn't really ask, but I just said, so what do you use then? And they said they use this FX Black Label. So I thought, well, I'll try that. And so I went on the website to get this, and then that's when I saw that they also had one with extra UV protection. And you know, I'm getting ready to do my, I knew I had to redo my mermaid outside, so I was really interested in something that, you know, you could put outside and would have extra UV protection, which is also, this one also boasts that it has extra UV protection, the Art Resin. And I don't know if Clearcast does, but it certainly seemed to, because they both seemed about the same. So anyway, that's how I ended up buying these. And so these were the absolute worst, and these two were the best. And I hope this helps. It's helped me to make a decision what I'm going to use on the mermaid that I redo outside. And I hope it helps you guys. And if there's any other resins that you want me to test that maybe boast extra UV protection, I could try them. I would prefer to use one that is VOC free. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video and learned something, give it a thumbs up. That helps the channel. And if you want to be notified of future videos, go ahead and subscribe, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.